Zen on the Trail, Hiking as Pilgrimage by Christopher Ives. Discover how hiking can be a kind of spiritual pilgrimage, calming our minds, enhancing our sense of wonder, and deepening our connection to nature.
Christopher Ives describes for us his own experience of studying and practicing Zen Buddhism, his own experience of navigating wilderness in his expeditions, and interwoven into that, he shares the historical context for Zen Buddhism as it relates to pilgrimage. When I got this book in the mail and read the cover and got a sense of what it proposed to introduce to us, there were a few subconscious hopes that I began to connect to. I hoped that Christopher Ives would teach me. I hoped that he would use vivid imagery. I always find that delicious. And I also hoped that he would allow us to get to know him a little bit through what he chooses to emphasize. Amongst the many things we could emphasize in this curriculum, he does all those things well. But that's not what I want to focus on in this video. I want to focus on what I sense beyond that in this book. I believe that we are each navigating through our own internal expeditions in a labyrinth of our own making. And that we seek to externalize those expeditions into our relationships, into our environments, such that we can see them, play with them, and then apply them to our own maneuvering in our internal expeditions. What I see, even a third of the way through Christopher Ives' Zen on the Trail, is the whisperings of foreshadowing toward the understanding that no matter where we are, no matter the pilgrimage we have launched into, or the thought patterns and routines that we have broken ourselves out of in order to do so, there we find yet again the same expeditions that we were dealing with before we began that navigation. In Christopher Ives' writing, I feel the rhythms of constriction and expansion as he beckons us to see how the internal expedition, it reflects off of the external expedition. And I feel the whisperings of the unique opportunities there for breaking out of thought form. I'm also noting the exploration of paradox. Christopher Ives uses vivid imagery to show the mundane characteristics that so often become prominent in our quest for the magnificent. What I feel here is the implication that the magnificent can be uncovered in the mundane. So many of us who are studying this curriculum are seeking the feeling, the sensation of non-duality and the cool, calm equanimity that follows. What I'm sensing in Ives' work is that he's gifting us the sensations of non-duality in many of his passages through his exploration of turning the internal expedition that we're all on into external form, in order that we can all explore with him what it means to go on a pilgrimage, what it means to be seeking or searching, what it means to have found what we're seeking or not to, and what all this implies about where we might find it. Anywhere, everywhere. Without further ado, I'll move on toward today's readings. Enjoy.
Page 8. As a scholar, with that peculiar attachment to defining terms that is typical of my profession, I later crafted a definition of pilgrimage. Here it is: journeying from one's home to a distant sacred site, with encounters and challenges along the way, for the purpose of getting close to something powerful and gaining a benefit, whether a religious experience, peace of mind, healing, a solution to a problem, or even salvation itself. Page 11. Like rites of passage and other forms of ritual practice, traditional pilgrimage is usually grounded in a belief that there is something sacred that exists apart from day-to-day existence, and that we can draw closer to it when we go to power spots, the thin places, or better yet, the thick places, where that higher reality has manifested itself in all of its power in the past, and may very well do so again in the present. In their yearning to get close to the sacred, pilgrims typically try to touch something related to it. Page 12. Despite the disparagement of the body in many religions, including strands of Christianity that are steeped in the Hellenistic split between mind and matter, spirit and flesh, the body's crucial to pilgrimage and to religious rituals, which are replete with physical imagery, referring not only to kissing and sex, but to pain and pleasure, hunger and eating, death and rebirth. Not surprisingly, scholars of ritual have pulled heavily from Freud's theories about how libido, sublimation, repression, and projection play themselves out in dreams, works of art, belief in patriarchal gods, and yes, rituals. Page 16. Though my main focus is on the spirituality of hiking, I offer this book in the hope that it can help us realize our embeddedness in nature and ultimately realize ourselves as nature, expressing itself in the shifting form that is our mind-body. Page 27. I'm crossing a boundary into a place that demands and deserves my attention. For me, it is a sacred space, not in the sense of a realm of spirits and gods. Well, who knows? They may indeed reside in the thickets and cliffs of the trail, but as a place to let go of worries, reactions, comparisons, and other uninvited guests that refuse to leave the interior home that is my mind. With the bow, I let the woods know that I'm entering, as if asking permission. I listen. A robin calls out to its mate in a nearby oak, and somewhere up the road in the direction of Crawford Notch, a couple of crows are squawking. Page 34. At present, national parks do provide sanctuaries for many of us. There's a good reason to cherish them, but our cherishing needs to extend beyond the magnificent, the powerful, the supposedly pristine. To revere remote wilderness and set aside only certain spots as protected or sacred can make it easier to trash the not-so-wild that is closer to home. Page 38. It's hard not to be scattered, especially in lives that are way too busy. Some of us may even wear our scurrying as a badge, as if it indicates that we're important, doing impactful, cutting-edge things in the world. When busyness becomes a virtue, we're in deep trouble. Page 53. Do things one at a time with focus and move gracefully through your day without breaking things. Show up each moment with no investment in making your mark or trying to prove something. And with as much savvy and compassion as you can muster, just do what needs to be done. Then let go. Page 55. The imagery of death also symbolizes how pilgrimage strips us of our identities back in the world. We sever contact with our work, wear the same attire as other pilgrims, move equally as children of God or recipients of a saint's blessing, and in this liminal state we die as our ordinary self, with all of its roles, status, and wealth, or lack thereof, as well as its worries, judgments, greed, and anger. In lifting us up and out of our concerns, pilgrimage and hiking may also elevate us into communion with something higher. We may even get born again. Page 61. When something catches your attention on the trail with distinctive beauty, power, or mystery, try bowing to it, even if you feel self-conscious doing so. Show respect to the geological and biological forces presenting themselves. Today I pause to spend a moment with a delicate mountain laurel flower that has caught my eye on the side of the trail. I exhale and let that one thing fill me, then bow slightly as I continue up the trail. I imagine the whole system of which the flower is a part, the supernova that created the molecules of the mountain laurel flower, the creation of soil from the erosion of rocks, the seed that fell in that place. the light from the sun that generated the leaves. That single white flower is a gate to the whole. Before I turn away, I bow to it once more in reverence and say a word of gratitude. Before I wrap up this video, I'm going to share the contents page. Leaving home, the threshold, temple gate, and mountain trailhead. Breath and body, letting go. Ritualizing a walk. Mountains and other destinations, vistas and visions, beauty and blazes on the trail. Return. True home. True pilgrimage.